Yep, there's a new melody out here. The Michelle Obama derangement syndrome is going strong in the right-wing media. The latest manufactured offense centers around the First Lady's decision to support an up-and-coming American jewelry designer, and what's wrong with that, by wearing a few of her bracelets to a fundraiser this week. The diamond bracelets aren't cheap. Altogether, they were valued at around, $42,000. But the First Lady didn't buy them. They were loaned to her for the evening. A detail the Fox News website conveniently left out of its article, which was posted under the headline, get this, First Lady rocks $40K in diamonds on her wrist. The Drudge Report screamed, East Wing bling. Michelle owes $42,000 diamond cuffs. And here's the right-wing Gateway Pundit blog. Everyone must sacrifice. Michelle Obama wears $42,000 in bling to DNC fundraiser. This is nothing new with the right-wing media. They don't have a problem with Newt Gingrich's $500,000 line of credit at Tiffany's. Mitt Romney can quadruple the square footage of his multi-million-dollar beach house, no problem. But if Michelle Obama borrows some jewelry, the knives come out. For more, let me bring in MSNBC contributor Melissa Harris-Perry. She's a professor of political science at Tulane University and a columnist for The Nation magazine. And also with us tonight is James Peterson, the director of Africana Studies at Lehigh University. I hope you guys are not wearing too much jewelry here tonight. Let me start with you, James Peterson. Why the vicious double standard in the treatment of Michelle Obama and the rest of us, it seems?
It seems to me that these bloggers are kind of grasping at straws here. We should bear in mind that they've had a sort of very angry approach to Michelle Obama for a very long time. You might remember the New Yorker Times cover was sort of a manifestation of that. But the bottom line here is she borrowed the jewelry. And is this something that we really should be talking about right now? I mean, I'd love to see this kind of attention paid to the good works that Michelle Obama does, including her efforts to sort of create and cultivate gardens in inner cities and even right in the White House, her efforts to enhance our approach to nutrition and feeding our children in public schools. I mean, she's done so many good works that don't get this kind of attention. I wish that we could, just once in the political sphere, focus on the positive over the negative.
Yeah, along that lines, Melissa, let's look at a catalog of some of these in unjust assaults. You know, the First Lady was after the 9/11 ceremony. There was lip-reading conspiracy there. The Washington Times and right-wing bloggers claim she sarcastically mouthed something like, all this for a damn flag to the president. Turned out to be wrong. Limbaugh, O'Reilly, Hannity were all over Michelle Obama for her trip to Spain. There are continued attacks over her anti-obesity campaign. What in the world do Republicans get out of vilifying her so viciously and so personally?
Okay, so first, deep breath. And one of the things I want us to remember is that what's going on in the right-wing blogosphere, or even in this, moment on Fox News, is not reflected in public opinion of and about the First Lady. In fact, one of the most stunning aspects of the First Lady's position, I think, has been the absolute capacity that she has had to win over really a large segment of the American population. She has had consistently higher approval ratings than the president for much of the presidency, which, given the history of American race and sexism, and given the realities of very negative stereotypes that continue to exist around black women, the very fact that so many Americans are able to see through these kinds of negative portrayals and, in fact, appreciate and like the First Lady, I think is actually an indication of her sort of qualities that seem to shine through all of this very old-fashioned stereotyping.
Yeah. Republicans, in light of what Melissa just said, that she's been able to really transcend this kind of negative assault. The irony, of course, James, is that Republicans militantly defend rich people against Obama's supposed class warfare. Shouldn't they love the First Lady dripping in diamonds and becoming a potential subject for the luxury rap of Kanye West?
Well, listen, the Republicans are always sort of folding in on themselves. And remember, the sort of the bling illusion here is another one of these sort of dog whistle racial comments. But Melissa is right. Her numbers are solid gold. I mean, her approval ratings have been consistent throughout. And the thing that's really, really important to note here is why. It's because she's compassionate, she's authentic, and she's genuinely concerned about the benefits of the American people. That shows through in everything that she does. And this silly story about her borrowing some bracelets, to actually help small business. They talk about wanting to help small businesses. This new designer, because of the attention we're giving it, this designer will now be able to sell plenty of jewelry and probably will have to hire a couple jewelry makers. So she's actually helping small businesses.
Go on, Melissa.
And I think I think James's point about her being solid gold is really important here. Remember that the Republican strategy at this point is to take away all of the things that President Obama will need in his reelection campaign. So the attack on unions is about making sure that there will be no one to drive Democratic voters to the polls. And so they recognize that, in fact, the First Lady is an asset to the reelection campaign. So part of what's going on here is an attempt to tarnish what is clearly going to be an asset for the Obama campaign, and I think Mr. Peterson, Professor Peterson, is exactly right there. That when the language of bling is used, this is meant to indicate a kind of racial consumption, and this idea that she is somehow part of a hip hop culture that we should all be nervous about. But Michelle is so much bigger than that.
All right, no doubt about it, and tarnished her reputation. No, even the diamond she was wearing. God bless her. Melissa Harris Perry and Dr. James Peterson. Professor Perry, thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight. This video shows the initial re-entry of a 6-ton satellite falling back to Earth. We'll tell you if you need to duck. Next.